Good morning and welcome in on what is here a very wet Monday morning. But I think the rest of the week is set to be a bit fairer. But today I think is rain all the way. So if it does, as it has been doing this morning every now and then, suddenly start really hammering it down, you are going to hear it on the conservatory roof. But for now it's just a gentle little splatter. But yeah, who knows what we've got to look forward to today. So I hope you weren't planning on picnicking today or going out anywhere nice. Come in here and stay with us instead. Come and say hello. Morning Jackie, morning Hannah, morning Div. And we'll do some crafting instead. Mike's actually off this week. He's on holiday this week. We haven't got plans, just as well, to go anywhere specific or do anything. But I am sort of going to be trying to work things down to a minimum today, this week, so that we can, whether it's get on with some jobs or if we get the chance, get out for a walk or whatever we can do. So, what shall we play with today? I thought I would, in the little beginner's brochure that Stampin' Up produced, or have produced, the Make Beautiful Things. There's some really lovely little stamp sets. Now these have obviously been designed with beginner crafters in mind, but that doesn't mean that only beginner crafters can play with them. Morning Caroline. And there's some really lovely little things in here. There's some lovely inspiration. There's sort of little bits that show you that you can go to YouTube and find videos that go with all of these. Go to the Stampin' Up YouTube YouTube channel and you'll find videos that go with all of these. Some really lovely little stamp sets, kits, and there's some other beginner stamp sets in the main catalogue. And one of the other things that's in this brochure, as is in the main brochure, is this little set of stamping spots. So one of the classes that I have designed to experiment with going forward is the idea of a spot of stamping, and that was for people that don't have lots of supplies. They may not have a craft room full of ink and stamps and blocks, etc, etc. So the idea of the class was we were just going to use those colours. So if you'd invested in that little set of stamping spots, each month the class would have a stamp set and 3 projects for you to make. So in with your little kit you'd get the instructions and the ingredients, if you like, for creating 3 little cards. Morning Jane. So the month that we're in, the class that has just gone out, or is still available to go out if anybody wants it, is the Cute Fruit. So we've used the Cute Fruit stamp set and created, that's an upside down, 3 simple little cards using that stamp set and those colours. So that was the spot of stamping, the spots of stamping classes that I developed, as I say, and the idea behind them. The people I had in mind were the people that used to come along to my monthly class that went around on tour around the county, because for those people, they used to love coming in and doing their projects, but they didn't necessarily have lots of things at home. So by just investing in their spots each month, they could get a stamp set and 3 little cards that they could create, so they could just carry on with that sort of monthly, having a little dip into creating some things. So Cute Fruit was the first one. The next one that I'm going to be releasing is the Zany Zebras. So same idea, 1 stamp set using those colours, and I'll create 3 little projects. So if you sign up for the class for £20, you'll get your stamp set and you'll get 3 sets of instructions and all the ingredients to make 3 little cards. But I have not yet played with my Zany Zebras. Look. So as you can tell, that class is not yet designed. These stamps have not even come out of been popped out of their rubber yet. So I thought we'd have a bit of a play with it this morning. Now this won't be the cards that are going into the class. They will be 3 different ones, which is quite nice, because if you then go on to do the class, I can give you the link to this Facebook, and you'll have a couple of more ideas as well. But Zany Zebras, so really cute little stamp set, obviously featuring zebras. and you sort of got them one facing one way, one facing another. This one's sort of frolicking. You've got a little party hat that goes with them. You've got this ground, you've got some stars. You party animal, kick up your heels, happy birthday, wild about you, it's time to celebrate. A really fun little stamp set. So I thought on this wet, yucky Monday morning, that was the perfect excuse to play with a fun little stamp set. And the signing up for this class is not up yet. I need to sit down and do some adding things in to Facebooks and websites and all of those sorts of things for you to sign up for these things. But let's start. What I thought we would do to start with, I have here my box of white and black oddments. So let's take out some white. Take out a couple of these strips of black. That will be brilliant. I don't know how many we'll need. We'll see. Because obviously, when you think zebras, you think black and white. So I'm going to take these. Actually, just going to sort of tweak that in half so I know roughly where the halfway point is. I'm just going to pop that in half. I'll go with 3. I might not need 4. Let's just roughly chop these in half, and we'll do the same with these white ones. I thought what we'd do to start with is we'll create a background. Now, when we wanted a chessboard the other day, we were doing paper weaving. But for this black and white background, I thought what is actually quite interesting is about the stripes and things on a zebra, and you do get it to some extent on these, is they're not just straight stripes. They tend to be a bit of sort of an angle, which reminds me of the scrappy strip technique. Let's not use that one as a first because it's got a bend in the middle. So I'm just going to randomly, no rhyme or reason, and many of you will have seen the scrappy strip technique that was first brought to us by Bruno Petrucci. Let's do a few more white. So we don't want them to be uniform stripes. We want them to be on angles. And I think each zebra has its own individual markings. So if you know your zebras well, you can tell them apart. Just do a few more black. So there is no technical measuring or anything like that with this technique, and obviously you can do it with card, you can do it with designer series paper, you can do it with speciality papers. Whatever you fancy. Right, it's better. Let's just grab my trimmer and we'll make ourselves a piece of base whisper white that we can stick these onto. So I'm going to make this, we'll make this 13.9 by 9.5, and then we'll have a black mat on the back as well. So let's cut ourselves a black mat that's 14.4 by 10. And we're going to have a card base, obviously. Just score this card base. So we're going to have a card base, we're going to have a black mat, and then we're going to have our stripy mat. Oh, we seem to have a bug. We lose the bug, we don't need that. So let's start with a strip of black. I'm going to take one that's got quite a good angle on it, I think. And this really is just playing with pattern, deciding what you want it to look like. I'm going to stick over the edge, that's fine. And to take this one that's slightly, it's not quite even top and bottom, but slightly. Let's come in with this black one. Bring that down so that's a slightly wider bit just there. Need to bring that one in that way, I think. Let's have a white one. We'll have a black one. It will go fat at the top this time, narrower down to the bottom. I'm going to bring this one so it knocks it even more over that way. Might need, I don't know, we should just about have enough strips, I think. This is quite a straight one. Let's have this one that's going to bring it sort of almost back up. Straighten it up a little bit again. Morning, Sarah. So we're just playing with these strips that we have just randomly cut. So there isn't any not done any measuring, I've not done any, we'll just have that sticking in there. So what we'll need to do then is, obviously this is stuck nicely now to our paper. Not going to worry about the edge bits. We will release it. We should have done it. So the first thing of don't do as I do as I suggest would be to do this on a silicone mat, and then it won't have stuck. Obviously it will stick to your paper mat. I'm going to find my scissors. Let's get my snips and let's just cut off these bits where they've all stuck to the paper mat on the back. But I need to be careful that I don't lose that end bit just there. It's very narrow. You just need to add a bit more glue to that and then trim it down again. Let's take these top bits off first. Add a little dribble of glue. on that side. And just trim that up. Okay, so now, as well as a very sticky paper mat that I'm going to get rid of, I think. Vroom. Look at that. Perfect. Right, so we now have a beautiful stripy background, which, like a zebra, looks very zebra-like because it isn't sort of straight stripes, perpendicular stripes. They're sort of a bit wiggledy and all over the place. So it does give us that sort of feel of being a stripy zebra. So that will be our lovely background that we will mount onto that piece of black card just there to go onto our white base. Morning, Doreen. So let's have a look at our zebras. Let's decide which zebra we'd like to have. I quite like the idea of this leaping zebra, I think. Let's put his sticker on the back. He's very cute, isn't he? So now we need somewhere to stamp him. And obviously that needs to stand out from that background. So we need some sort of a base. I'm thinking if we go with a couple of nested labels, are we going to get him to sit in that white one? I don't think he is. So I think it will have to be that one, and then if we want a black one at the back, it will need to be that one. So I'm going to cut this nested label out of this piece of black card. Got far too many acrylic plates on that one. So there's our black mat. We'll sneak that one back under there. No one will ever know. Let's cut ourselves a white mat to stamp our zebra onto. Find a block for him. You picked up before I was ready for you. There we go. And can't see what I'm looking for. Actually, I am going to bring in my Stamparatus just because for something like this where we'd really like it to be a good solid black, it's worth using the Stamparatus and being able to stamp it a second time if we need to. So let's just put our zebra where we want him and put our magnets down to hold him in place. And let's get him inked up. I'll bring my case in, put it under there, ink him up. Now obviously it's a fairly good bet that this is probably going to come out perfect the first time. It only doesn't come out perfect. Oh no, Glinda, I hope that's not me here because of the rain, because we are absolutely torrentially raining here. To give him another bit of a inking. The dog is here by the back door looking out as if to say, it's raining. How am I supposed to go and sit out in the garden in the sunshine if it's raining? It's all right, Tazzy. Just dropped something. He's so jumpy, bless him. I'm not out to get you. Let's give that a second stamp just to give him a nice, so he's nicely popping out of there black. While that's sitting in there, I think I might actually take some of these little stars. Let's find our little star backing. Oh, didn't mean to do that. It's now going to stick to my fingers and not where I want it to stay. Thank you. That's it. And I think we'll have some little stars coming around the place. Let's just move that out of the way. Wipe his face. Right, let's have a little look at our zebra and what else he needs. So he's quite nice and he's sort of really standing out quite nice and boldly with that sort of just black and white. What sort of a greeting shall we have? Quite like this kick up your heels. So let's have a happy birthday and a kick up your heels. We'll do two. One coming in at the top here somewhere and one down the bottom there somewhere. Kick up your heels coming down here somewhere. It's got a nice fun font. Happy birthday. Now it is actually, the font on it does have like these sort of lines and gaps in the bottom. It sort of is like that by design. Let's have a kick up your heels. I'm just wondering if they will fit in. Are they going to fit the classic label punch? It always surprises me. It always looks as if they're not going to, but they absolutely do. So let's have one this way, and we'll have one with the arrow. Let's level that up a bit. Going the other way. I'm going to redo that happy birthday just because I had a bit of a Monday morning brain going on there. Oh, that one is definitely not right. It's better. And this one we want the arrow that end. Oh, what's right? What's right? Oh dear. Yes, I've done that. I've done it with dimensionals as well. On some of mine, they're stuck in the lid. That one obviously isn't. We'll have that arrow going that way, and this arrow going that way. Now I just feel as if they possibly got our little stars. Let's just take our watercolour pencils, just add in our stars. And I think we'll take a bit of Coastal Cabana, possibly add in a little bit of pink round his nose and mouth. And a little bit of the grey. Just to add a bit more shading to these stripes. Might even go a smidge darker and add in some black. It's not heavy, it's just adding a bit more definition into those stripes. And perhaps their feet. And I think, if I remember right, in that little creativity brochure, the watercolour pencils are a sort of suggested add-on as part of a kit, just for this very reason. There he is. Right. stick some of this together. And we'll start with our Scrappy Technique stripes. We'll add that to our black mat that's got a hole in it. Not that anyone will ever know. There's our stripy background. And then if we take our zebra, we'll add this to our white mat just there. I think we'll pop that up on some dimensionals. And the white and black on the foreground there really makes that back pop. I think we'll use some of our black dimensionals for this one. As it's black card, why not? It's what they're made for. We've got sticky black dimensionals on the back there. Let's find some of our little dimensionals. So with these, I'm going to put a mini dimensional on the end here. And I think the other end, I was going to go with a glue dot. You go on, glue dots. Perhaps we'll have a spot of glue instead. Glue dots have gone AWOL. So we'll have kick up your heels there. So dimensional that side to raise that side up, but just stick it down directly that side where it's already raised up. And the same but opposite with the happy birthday. Happy birthday. Kick up your heels. Some nice stitched elements in there. He's very fun, isn't he? He's a very cute little zebra. So that nice stripy background in there that isn't the sort of just straight perpendicular stripes, is sort of zigzaggy, wandery stripes like you actually get in zebras. So the Scrappy Technique is just perfect for creating those backgrounds. You're never going to get the same background twice. That's part of the fun. Never quite knowing where it's going to end. Let's just pop these dies on here, and then we'll have a look at a different zebra card. And this time we're going to move away from black and white because we can, frankly. We can use whatever colours we fancy. I'm going to put you just there, kicking up your heels for a moment. And I'm going to bring in some Bumblebee. So I've got some Bumblebee cardstock, some Bumblebee designer series paper. This is out of the In Colour designer series paper. So really nice, fun backgrounds. I'm going to cut a bit of Bumblebee that measures 14. Now I'm going to go 13.9 by 9.5. Because I am going to bring in another black mat. I'll trim this to 10, it should already be 14.4. Like that. Then I'm going to cut a piece of the designer series paper so that that measures 9 by 13.4. A bit like that. And obviously we'll have a white card base underneath there as well. I'll cut that in a minute. Now I'm going to grab some layering circles, I think. Just deciding which size layering circle to have. I might possibly get 3 out of there, which is ideally what I would like. So I am going to take that piece of DSP, gone a bit croaky, and stick it to my Bumblebee card mat. Let's put my bit of black card to one side for a minute. I'm actually going to bring my big shot over while I play with this, because I'm going to put this one right down here towards the bottom. Sorry, battering you. It's very rude. Let's wind that through. It's a nice dotty circle for another project, isn't it? This one I'm going to bring, and we'll have it sort of come one spot down. Out there, I think. We'll run that one through. Clonk. Second spotty circle for playing with something else, and then this one we're going to line up somewhere between the two. Ooh, clonk, that's making a really creaky noise, isn't it? And there's our third little spotty circle for another project. But we now have a piece of Bumblebee card with 3 circles. Now I've actually got this piece of Whisper White here. I'm going to trim that will stick down the back there. So let's make this, I'm going to make this 13.4. Morning, Joe. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay that on the top there and hopefully find ourselves a pencil. And we'll just take our pencil and mark our circles on this piece of white card. Because then we have our target. It won't matter if that is a bit wonky, as long as it sticks on. Actually, I am going to turn that over because that is going to be really near the edge, isn't it, on that side? Let's do that. Let's try that once more. So just in case you didn't see it the first time, we'll lay that on top of our Whisper White card and just draw some circles. That's better. They're not wandering off the edge. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay that down there just to make sure that while I'm stamping in this circle, we don't get anything stamped in that circle. So it's just a bit of an oddment of a scrap of card. It doesn't really matter what it is. And let's find our block. But we're not going to stamp it in black. We're going to stamp it. I'm looking everywhere thinking I picked up that ink pad. I obviously didn't. I obviously thought about picking up that ink pad. We're going to stamp them in Bumblebee. We're going to have Bumblebee coloured zebras again because we can. So let's get his little face lined up in that circle. Doesn't matter where else it goes as long as his little face is lined up in that circle. Let's see who else we've got. So that one's facing that way. I was going to be clever and do it without the label on the back, but actually it will be useful for lining it up. And this one, facing that way. And obviously on here they're going to look very weird. And last but not least, let's put his label on him. Quite fun in yellow, aren't they? But that's it. When you're being creative and crafty, you don't have to stick to the rules. And we'll have this one this way. So as I say, that looks very, very odd now, but when we bring back in our die cut circles, suddenly they look a little bit less odd. So let's just rub out their pencil circles. I've overstamped on nearly, well actually I think that's caught on the ink seems to have picked up the pencil line. It won't matter overly much. We can dear oh dear, Helen, I need to go back to stamping school. Right, let's put our little bit over the top, line those up where we want them to go, and we'll stick those along the back. Now definitely go with wet glue for this one, because then that will give us some wiggle room. Morning, Janice. My glue doesn't want to play this morning. That's it. Have a bit of a wiggle. Make sure they're all sitting where we want them to sit. We can trim off any at the top or bottom that sticks out. Got my scissor charm stuck between the blades of my scissors. They're not going to shut like that, are they? There we go. So Bumblebee Zebras in Bumblebee Spotty card. Let's give them a card base. Stick this one down here. Let's have a little think about what greeting we'd like. Let's have wild about you. I'll stamp that onto a little bit of Whisper White card. I'll then trim that up. That side, and do we want a little smidge off of that end as well? Just a smidge. Going to pop that onto a piece of black card. Could get my trimmer out again, but I'm just going to do it with my scissors. Because that tends to be the way I roll. Now, do we want a bit of Bumblebee ribbon around the bottom there? That would just add a little bit something else, wouldn't it? I'll just get some tape. We'll wrap that round here and just attach that down that side with a bit of tape. Wrap that round there, and this ribbon is really lovely. It's got this sort of scalloped edge on the bottom here. And then we'll pop our greeting up. And again, we'll use our black dimensionals because we're using black card. Have those on there. With a bit of a dig in my embellishment box. I've got some of the in colour enamel dots. Obviously this is where we like our coordination all the way. Not yet stuck that card base on. I will come and do that in a minute. I think we'll have some dots in these circles. Just got such cute faces, haven't they? So that one's a very different colourway. So really gone away from the black and white on that one. Let's stick this on here. So whether you like your zebras Bumblebee or whether you prefer them in traditional black and white, I don't think there's any taking away from the fact it's a very cute little stamp set. So the Zany Zebras, some are more zany than others, but a really fun little stamp set. And as I say, if you look out for that spot of stamping class that's coming up, that you will be using just the colours from the Stamping Spot collection, so that if you don't have lots of things at home, that's a small investment, so that each month you'll be able to get a new stamp set and lots of new things to play with. So thank you for joining me this morning. I shall be popping in and out all week with various posts and things, but then we'll be back on Friday for our All Request Friday. And I think as we'll be coming up, sneaking up towards the launch of the catalogue next week, we might even do a new Christmassy things All Request Friday. I'll see if I'm going to treat you. But until then, have a fabulous week. And I'll see you all on Friday. Or I will if the video wants to stop playing.